It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. If I could just wake up and it not be true. Oh, it is living in a new world with an old soul. These rich men, not the rich men, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. They wanna know what you think, they wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, cause a dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, cause a rich man off a rich man.
Let's go, guys. We are live in Dallas, Texas with Ricardo Hamilton, aka M.I.M.S, Make It Make Sense. It is time to unite in America. The forces that be have tried everything and they're going to keep trying us. So, M.I.M.S, what is the message tonight? For me, it is about we have to save ourselves first. So as you try to help people save themselves, what's the number one thing that you focus on?
Yeah, I mean, right now, what's going on in the economy, I think everybody is like concerned, and they should be. They should be. And, you know, I always say, Mike, I tell you all the time, nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. But to save this country, to save America, it starts with the individual. It starts with we the people.
Yes.
And I think that's the message that people really need to hear. They need to hear the solutions that can help them and their family. And as they help themselves and their families, as a collective, we'll all come out of this together. But obviously, we can't rely on the institutions and governments to be here to take care of us.
Nobody is coming to save you, okay? We know the government has failed on every level. We could all argue about it. It is time to get past this Democrat versus Republican, red versus blue stuff, okay? There's too much stuff going on in the world right now. First of all, let's say a prayer right now for everyone in the South, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, who is going through literally hell. We're not going to get into details of that, but I would urge you guys to get on X. Most of it is being scrubbed off of TikTok. Anyone reporting anything from the Southeast is being deleted off TikTok right now. X is probably the only place you can find real information right now. You know, we have Ukraine going on. We have what's going on in Israel. They are pulling out all the stops, okay? So now is the time to, again, focus on yourself, your consciousness, your spirituality, and get community going, okay? It comes down to we the people.
Right.
That's what everyone needs to understand.
Right.
So, M.I.M.S, I want to hear you go off on just community, whether it's growing food, helping people. Like, I'm seeing so many amazing videos on X right now of people in North Carolina, like helicopter pilots, search and rescue teams.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if that happened in your community. Would you be prepared? And what's the mindset we need to have right now going into all of this craziness?
Yeah, one of preparation. You know, and that's what we've been talking about for years now. Yeah. Just preparing people on a financial level for what's to take place. But it's not just financial. You know, it's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual. You know, we've talked about helping people getting organic, non-GMO seeds, you know, to be able to grow your own food.
Yes.
You never know what can happen. We talk about being able to source your own drinking water, purifying water, things of that nature. Of course, you got to be able to protect yourself and your family because we have, you know, a water crisis and everything else going on. You never know what's going to take place. And I think that these are things that people normally don't consider because we have a normalcy bias. You know, people have a complacency bias. Oh, it'll never happen here. Or they just think that somebody's, you know, going to help them. The government's going to come save them. But we're really seeing that this government is not for the people. They're more so for foreign entities and illegal immigrants and the people who need the money in this country. They say, well, there's no money for you.
$750. I don't know where you guys are at and what's going on. FEMA literally told people whose entire lives, entire houses, all their property was destroyed. Here's $750. Yeah. Well, they have spent billions of dollars on other countries.
Ukraine, Israel. I mean, you go down the list.
Line it up.
They bailed out the banks in a way. They look out for everybody except the actual people who pay into the system.
Yep.
So now you know what you're dealing with. You know, this is the thing. You're going to put your head in the sand. Are you going to deny what you're seeing before your eyes? Are you going to act like it doesn't exist? Well, then you're going to suffer the consequences because it's up to you to protect yourself and your family, because nobody's coming to save you, like we said before. And so, this is why we always talk about, being prepared for what's to come. And I tell people all the time, I'd rather be 1 year or even 2 years too early than 1 day too late to the largest wealth transfer in history. And what we're looking at here is a crisis, but there's also an opportunity amongst a crisis.
Yes.
They work on problem, reaction, solution. So we want to talk about the problem, and we want to also be able to provide a solution, because that's what most people are not getting. Mainstream media will put the fear out there, but they're not telling people what they should be doing. And then you'll hear Kamala Harris or, whoever, Trump, and they'll debate, but they never talk about the real problem. Who's public enemy number one? How did we get to this place? It comes down to the Federal Reserve, central banks, and the debt-based fiat monetary system.
That part.
That affects everybody, no matter what color you are, race, creed, your religion, doesn't matter. You must understand how this monetary system works and how you can protect yourself and your family on a financial side to give yourself the ability to come out on the other side of this in a whole new way that can create real generational wealth for you and your loved ones.
So let me repeat what I think the greatest words of Ron Paul, the greatest patriot of all timers. Inflation is the most sinister tax of all time, because you don't even know what's happening. And we've been trying to educate you guys about inflation for over a decade now. And now everybody knows about inflation because you're seeing it everywhere that you go. So this is because they have been giving away billions of dollars in foreign aid. They've been allowing people to come into this country when we can't take care of ourselves. Okay? Love everyone, respect everyone, but let's take care of America first. That's all I'm saying. We have veterans who are committing suicide every 22 seconds. We have massive homelessness. We have children who can't read at grade level on just an astronomical level. I was a teacher for 17 years. We should just pause everything, just take a time out and say, fix our education system. Our education system is completely broken.
That's a great point, Mike. We're not voting for this. The people are, they're sending the money to war and everything else, but we don't have money for the schools. We don't have money for the children. We don't have money for the homeless. We don't have money for the veterans. We don't have money for our people after natural disaster. We have money for anything, but we have money for death and debt and, bailing out the ones who created the problem.
The 1%.
The 1%.
That's all I do.
So we know what it is now. We know who's for us. We know who's against us. And it's up to us to make those strategic moves that are going to put us in position. And as each one of us are strategically in position, as a collective, we're all in position, because I think it's going to get worse. I don't think that, obviously it's going to get better. And it's important that you take responsibility for your home. And I tell people all the time, the most important economy is your own economy. We can talk about the $35 trillion in debt. We can talk about $1 trillion in debt added every 100 days and the interest alone being $1 trillion. We can talk about the Federal Reserve being a private banking cartel that has never been audited, just corrupt and fraud. We can talk about how the dollar used to be backed by gold and it's fiat currency and the world is de-dollarizing. We can give you all the information and resources, but it's up to you to take action. It's up to you to see the problem for what it is and actually take action and implement the solutions that are going to actually help you get ahead. Otherwise, you will suffer because you did it, financially. So it's important that people understand how to hedge and diversify into real money, God's money, gold and silver, and how to prepare for the new economy that's going to be on the blockchain. This is what we talk about all the time. We just talk about solutions for what's to come.
And so here's the big picture, guys, right? It's to decentralize, okay? The centralized powers that we know have completely failed on every level, right? So start building your community, start connecting with people, let go of all this division and hate that is pushed through the mainstream media. That's what they want. They want us to fight. They want us to divide along race, gender, whatever. We have got to come together. And I know it sounds trite, but it really comes down to love. That's what it comes down to. We have got to come together and unite and love our local community and get back to actual spirituality, scripture, long-term wisdom versus what is going on in this world right now. And again, is Diddy a distraction? Probably. But is the whole Diddy situation the example of how the mainstream media, Hollywood, has completely gone off the rails? Of course. And so we need to pull away from that. We need to decentralize, get back to helping our local community, those that we know. That's the only way that we win, because if you are living today and you have electricity, you should be thankful. You should be living in abundance. You should have maximum gratitude with what is going on in North Carolina, Israel, Ukraine, all around the world. And again, it's about taking the power back from the central authorities. And again, the only way I know to do that is gold and silver and cryptocurrency, because otherwise they control everything.
Yeah.
If you're in those systems, they control everything and you're done.
Yeah. And, you know, how you should perceive what's going on in the world today is you are witnessing symptoms of a system in collapse.
Ooh.
And you're seeing that on every single level, not just in the financial system, not just in the political system. I mean, everywhere. The healthcare, education, you know, the war. You know, I mean, everything is breaking down because this system is collapsing. And so we're witnessing the systems of this, the symptoms of this debt-based system and collapse. And once you realize that, you can kind of see where this is going. You know, because that's the whole point. You want to be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be responding to a situation. You know, we've been talking about the banks for a very long time. They're not your friend. They loan out 100% of your money. Your money, they don't give you any interest on your money at the bank. Their money is losing value because of inflation, right? And the banks have passed bail-in laws where they have the ability to take your checking and savings and safety deposit box. And in here recently, we have Bank of America. People's accounts. Yeah.
Bank of America Day. They're like,
Bank.
Sorry, you got no money.
Yeah. And this stuff happens all the time. And then we had the CrowdStrike cyber attack that shut down governments and businesses all around the world. And so we're seeing more crisis after crisis after crisis. And we don't want you to become numb to it. You know, we don't want you to say, oh, it's just something that's going to happen. Yeah. No, we want you to be prepared, especially if you're somebody who's been following us. You know, like Mike said, we have love for you. We have love for our community. We have love for the world. So we don't want to hear that you are in a situation where we have been sharing for years how to at least put yourself in a better position to hedge against that, because that's what you have to do right now. You have to hedge against the deflation and the devaluing of the currency. You have to. You have to. It's going to get harder and harder for you to maintain your standard of living. Another thing I tell people all the time, if you're relying on one stream of income, you're a disaster waiting to happen. You cannot rely on one stream of income, you know, and so it's important that you have this mindset, you know, because that's really what it comes down to.
Always
it's just
mindset.
Coming down to your mindset, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, guys, right now, again, we are in Dallas, Texas. We are helping more people take power back from the central authorities to the people. It's about we the people.
Yeah.
So again, when we say to save America, we're not talking about the government. We're not talking about the deep state or the politicians. And again, I'm talking about both parties, Republican and Democrats. The party apparatus of both parties is completely gone, evil. Like, they're done. I've been past that period for 10 years. The point is now is, how do we help the people? Because again, the country is the people, not the government and those that are in control. They are all done. Like, they are destroyed, right? When everything about Diddy comes out, and basically if people even knew the truth about Epstein, it'd be game over. These people won't be able to walk down the street, right? But it's, what are we the people going to do? And again, it's coming back to real money, real currency. We're not going to let the Federal Reserve and the banksters and the World Health Organizations and the United Nations control us. It is time to bring the power back to our local community, back to our people, and unite as one in love. So my main message tonight is, we are obviously, anytime there's an election, there's massive division. Even if you don't agree with somebody, don't call them a name. Give them grace. Have a real conversation. Focus on facts, logic, and reason, and unity versus division. Yeah, that's my big message tonight, Ricardo. And seeing so many of the videos from North Carolina. And again, we're not going to get into what's going on down there, but we know the truth is being hidden, right? We know what happened 4 years ago with the pandemic. It's all been a huge lie, and the truth is being exposed. So unite in love and we will win. That's kind of my last message tonight. What do you want to wrap up with, M.I.M.S?
Man, we're in Dallas, Texas, and we're here to launch one of the biggest gold and silver companies that'll probably ever exist, because they're allowing people to get precious metals at cost. And it's important that people get God's money at this time. God's money is real money. It's constitutional money, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. It's been money since the times of Egypt. It's money all over the world, Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas. The new financial system is backed by gold. It's silver. This is what people need to have that they don't have. There's no real money in circulation. The United States dollar is the Federal Reserve.
It's the biggest fugazi ever.
It's the biggest. It's the Wizard of Oz. There is no real money in circulation. You're circulating units of debt that the Federal Reserve just prints up at will. That's what's really so infuriating to me.
Yeah, when they
tell us that there's no money to help the people.
They spend all the money,
but they print the money up.
They can print it. They can make it whatever they want.
And if this is the case, why pay taxes? I've seen so many people say this. Why are we paying taxes? And the tax dollars don't even go to help us, but they're helping illegals. They're helping foreign nations fight wars. Why do we continue to acquiesce and go along with the program? At what point do people say enough is enough? Yeah. And because at this point, you're letting them lead you to the slaughter. Yeah. You're going with the program. And the destruction that's going to come is to the dollar. The world is de-dollarizing. BRICS and nations as a GDP, as a conglomerate, are growing at a greater and faster rate than the G7 nations in the US. Okay, it's important that people understand these things. So this is why we say the main message is, prepare, get God's money, prepare for the best that you can for the environment that you foresee take place. But this is the time. So get back to whoever shared this with you, get back to me and Mike, whoever shared this video with you, so we can help you get access to these assets, access to these resources. Okay. And look, we care. Be safe, be blessed. And we're going to catch you guys on the next live stream. We'll be doing some live streams and more information coming out. With that being said, Mike.
Lace up.
Lace up. Let's get wealthy. Peace.
All right. Love you guys. Unite.